You are listening to the Mark Lesko Podcast, a podcast by diehard fans for fans. Mark covers all things Penn State football and the Pittsburgh Steelers, as well as anything related to the sports and fitness world. Tune in weekly to listen to a couple of dedicated fans talk about these topics without filters. Thank you for listening to the Mark Lesko Podcast.
Welcome back in, everybody, to another episode of Steelers Central. Joined by Jared once again. Jared, thanks for coming on, man.
Thanks again for having me, bud.
Yeah, so, Jared, it's a bye week, and, due to some scheduling changes, we'll probably be able to do a pregame show every week. And then, we'll talk about postgame, whatever, but we'll probably do a pregame show on Sundays now. The only thing I do on Sundays, I take like a 45-minute drive to the gym, and most people wouldn't do that, but I do, because it's a
must
good
be
gym.
Really great facilities where you go.
Oh yeah, it's awesome. But and it's a nice drive. It's scenic in Central PA, so
absolutely.
So we'll probably do pregame shows Sundays, and then we'll probably get some traffic because it's pregame. Got some traffic on the Penn State episode last night, so go check that out.
That was awesome, dude. That was so much fun.
Yeah, that one episode, this channel went up by 15 subscribers. We're almost at 500 now, so that's pretty cool. I'm happy everybody commented. I mean, getting a lot of weird comments on the video now, people after we posted it, and oh yeah, of course. I mean, that's part of it. Keep it coming.
Any publicity is good publicity,
Yeah, and then on TikTok, when I was talking about Joe, people were, oh man, that fired people up. Mm-hmm. People are just Austin mentioned. Oh yeah, it's on TikTok, man. Like,
wow.
Someone just called James Franklin a bum. And then they said OHIO, the classy Ohio State fans, as always.
They're out there too.
That's the thing, man. Like, if we won yesterday, I would have come on and just been like, yep, that's what we're supposed to do. And I don't think a lot of Penn State fans would have been talking crap, maybe. But I feel like Penn State fans are a little different. They're not as rude, if you will, because Ohio State fans are pretty bad. But, last year, who was worse in terms of saying bad stuff to us was Michigan. Michigan was real bad. But Ohio State was, some of them were like actually pretty respectful. Like they were like, good game. And, but yeah, I don't get it, man. It's like, why are you talking crap to us? You always win.
Well, I mean, we love to voice our honest opinions, how we felt about the game. And it just came down to, we thought that it was bad officiating. We really didn't care for that part of the game. And, we thought we had the better team on paper. And that was most of the comments. Like, oh, you blame the refs. Anyone who blames them, has a loser mentality. Like, it's, again, I get the negativity because, yeah, it's not easy to pinpoint to say, well, we suck, but it's not really the case. Like, there are a lot of things that go into a game that completely ruin momentum, and officiating did put a lot of blockage on anything happening. So, and they were questionable. They were questionable things. Like, I've always been taught, like, when you catch a ball and you make motion with the ball, I thought once that guy loses the ball, I thought that was a fumble. Like, I didn't think that you needed to have like an entire trip down the field and then lose the ball, and then that's a fumble. Like, I thought as long as the rule was you have the ball is caught and he makes a motion in any way, shape, or form, and when he turned, the ball came out, and I thought we had it. And then they called it an incomplete pass. It was like, well, he secured that ball. I mean, a completed catch should be ruled as, if the ball's in his hands, that should be a catch. Like, I don't think that moving with your feet with the ball should qualify as a catch. Like, and if that's the thing, like, so that's the only thing they say was an incomplete pass. When he caught the ball, he turned around and got out of his hand. So, I mean, he didn't have the ball for more than 2 seconds, but I just think that should still be a fumble when it's this and that. Those two motions should have had that happen, and it didn't. So, again, is that the ruling? Like,
yeah.
do you have to like that? What is the ruling for that?
Yeah, you have to. So the whole thing was, and we had people commenting because people are, again, they're morons and they don't know what they're talking about, and they're mishearing what people don't listen. Like, people don't use their two ears to hear what we're saying. We first of all, we weren't blaming the refs. We said they sucked, which they did. They were horrible.
They did.
But no, we said straight up, we give Ohio State credit. I said that word for word. We always give them the game. The refs are terrible. We blew it. Like, we said all of that. And with the fumble thing, like, all we were saying was that they rolled it a fumble, which means you have to have strong evidence to overturn it. And they did not have that. So they overturned it anyway. That's what we were saying. And people are like, oh, you're blaming the refs. Like, it's a roll. You said you don't care about the roll. And yeah, it really, it honestly concerns me, because I'm surprised that the human population is that mindless, but I already kind of knew that. So, but, yeah, I mean, it is what it is, man. I mean, what we were saying, literally, I don't know how anyone would have taken it the wrong way, but then again, I'm not surprised. But yeah, I mean, what you're saying, Jared, what we said is true. I mean, I don't know how they overturned it. There's no reason for that. And then the taunting call as well. Like, what I don't understand how I like, if you're going to call taunting after they had that interception at halftime, there was like 5 players dancing on the field. And I'm like, is that not taunting, or how does that work? I mean,
dude, that has to be going on every other play. It's like, if they're not calling it at that moment, I mean, then what's the point of that? Because it's not blatant. It's not like the guy spit on him. It's not like the guy like dug his heels or cleats into his helmet. I don't know. There's something about like how they got up off the field and they just thought, oh, well, he's just being a little too much in our what? I don't know. It was so tick-tacky. I didn't care for it. But again, it's always the big games where it's like these questionable calls. It's just like, that killed momentum, and that continued their drive. I know they scored on that drive. I can't remember if it was a field goal or a touchdown, but points are points, man, and it can ruin your game.
Yeah, I don't totally understand where people were coming from with that, in the sense that they're like, well, you guys blaming the refs, and that was a fumble, and you guys did taunt, and it's like, all right, well, I really don't know what else to say to you. I wish you the best of luck, and that's all I really had to say. So, but yeah, I mean, honestly, man, like, some of the comments I get, and it's like this one guy today, I'm not even going to talk about it, but, like, like people were talking about, they were saying how, Penn State sucks, and you guys, you said Penn State was a better team, which they are. Like, it's, we have so many 5-star guys on paper. We are better. I mean, it's and Ohio State played with a diminished offensive line. It's like, that alone right there makes us on paper better. But yeah, I mean, people are going to say what they want to say, but if you really want to lose faith in the human population, either work in retail, or which you have, Jared, or go to YouTube comments. I mean, that's where you'll really lose faith in humanity in general. So, and I pretty much lost faith in humanity a long, long time ago. So I'm already kind of past that part. But yeah, man.
And with that being said, people, just like and subscribe to this channel, please.
Yeah. Yeah. We talk common sense on here, at least.
We do. I mean, we think we do, but someone will tell us otherwise. That's what I love about it.
Oh, yeah,
here I thought
absolutely.
I was right, and someone else will gladly tell me I wasn't. So thank you for that.
it's always funny when people are like I'll say, like, Penn State's better on person or better on paper, and a person will say, no, they're not, and I'm like, well, I stand corrected. I mean, what do I know? You know,
I can't argue logic with that logic. You're right.
Thank you, sir, for correcting me. Totally, I appreciate that. I mean, it's like, are you gonna change my mind? I mean, what's your goal here? But oh yeah, it's interesting. But hey, the Steelers are winning the division. They're still leading the division even with the bye because the Ravens blew out. Who'd they blow out today?
The Broncos.
Okay, so
both 5-3 teams. I thought, hey, the Ravens will get a challenge. They got squat. Bo Nix looked like the most incompetent quarterback because of that Ravens defense. I don't even know how much Deontay Johnson was even a factor for the Ravens. I know he's now acquired for the Ravens. Did you know that? Deontay Johnson is now Raven. Yep. So wonderful. It's nice to know that they've got the insight on us when we play them. He'll give them all of our secrets, know exactly where to put us and where to put them. You know, he'll be able to tell them all about how bad we can be. So it's great to know that he is a part of the enemy, and it's not going to be a fun game at all when we play the Ravens. But as far as the week or the midseason goes, 6-2 is exactly where I thought the Steelers were going to be at this point. Dude, I don't know if I told you my preseason predictions, but I did have the Steelers winning this division, and I also had them going all the way to the AFC Championship. I did make this bold prediction. I think
you said that, yeah.
Yeah,
we went through that schedule.
Yeah, so I know that we definitely had our predictions at the beginning of the year, and I know I said that we could go as far as the AFC Championship. Now, that, again, was against the Texans, so I don't know if that's going to be true anymore with Stephon Diggs out. They don't look that consistent anymore, so it's still a long season. You never know how teams respond. And, again, as far as our team is concerned, I think they've responded absolutely fantastic. I knew that they were going to be around 6-2, 7-1 with the easy half of the schedule. The only losses I think I had them to were the Colts. I think that was the only team I had them losing against. And again, there's something about Indianapolis they just can't win in. And it naturally had to be against Joe Burrow. And then the devastating loss against the Cowboys, that was such a soul-crushing night. Like, one play after another was just tougher and tougher to get through. And the last play of the game, I'll never forget it. It was rough. It was just so bad. 4th and goal, just had to stop him one time. Dak Prescott went back, and you saw him with I want to say who it was, the guy. I don't think it was CeeDee Lamb. I know it was another one of his receivers. But Deshaun Elliott had the dude covered perfectly. But it was a perfect throw by Dak. He brought him down. He should have been able to strip him out of it, and he never let go. And it was just like he did everything he possibly could to win that game, and it just went the other way. But the fact is, you have teams like Vegas, you have teams like New York, and they're kind of abysmal. They don't have consistent stuff. They have good things here and there. Like the Raiders, I think, they have a good amount of weapons, but they don't have a whole lot of consistency on either one of their lines. New York Jets, Aaron Rodgers is a shell of his former self, but they have a good defense. And New York Giants, dude, they have good pieces. They have one of the better, what's the word? They have one of the better surprising factors, or what's the word? Like, the defensive line has been pretty good. Like, I've been impressed with how they've been handling themselves in their games. And they stayed with us the whole game. So it wasn't like we could blow anybody out, because everything that is good for them, like in terms of the Giants' line, in terms of the Jets' line, they kept up. But the only thing that was good was the New York Jets win. Like, that was pretty impressive. So other than that, we've kept everything close. We played down to the Giants like I knew we would. And I was like, please don't do it. And I think we went into the half 9-9. Like, all field goals, no touchdowns, like, great. And I think, if anything, what we have to be impressed with, dude, is we have one of the better scoring differentials. Like, I think how many points we've scored to how much we've given up is a pretty good factor. But again, that's all with the emergence of Najee and Russ. Najee Harris has looked as sensational as a running back as I could have asked. I have never seen this version of Najee Harris in all the 3 or 4 years he has been a Steeler, and he's looked so efficient, a fantastic run. And then, of course, Russell Wilson having pretty much the comeback player of the year stature that he has with these 2 games. Like, he has done everything right with everything he's been given. So George Pickens and company, Darnell Washington has now become an elite tight end because he just knows how to find the dude. Because again, when you're that big, there's no reason why you shouldn't be targeted every other play. Because who's going to stop that? 6'7", 265 pounds that can run? Like, man, that's unfair. But, you know, with the injuries too, like, that's the great thing about bye weeks because, you know, guys like Zach Frazier, and Peyton Wilson, Mason McCormick, I know we're getting at some point. I mean, that'll help the offensive line a lot. So going into the second half, 6-2, getting guys healthy. And again, everything really has been clicking for the offense correctly. It's just now a question, can the defense get better with the run game? That's our run defense, dude, has been pretty suspect. Like, the Giants ran 145 yards on us. That ain't good, dude. And I'm not saying that Tracy Jr. is not a good running back, but, dude, the Giants weren't known for that. So it's like the fact that you gave up 145 rushing yards to that, I mean, that right there spells a lot of, like, hopefully when we get back, that's one of the things we take care of. Because when we face the Commanders, dude, this next Sunday, that's a good running back. If I'm Ryan Robinson, is that who it is? And Austin Eckler. I know Austin Eckler is a Commander now too. So they've got a good tangent of running backs, dude. So if they cannot contain that, it's going to be a longer game than what we hope to be.
Yeah. Yeah. I still call them the Redskins, Jared. It's okay. You can call them the Redskins on this podcast.
Okay.
And it's funny because they're trying to get the name back, and it's funny. But
I heard that.
By the way, I wanted to show, and this is like NFL related somewhat. I'll pull it up. Hold on. All right, hold on. It's Jason Kelce. You see this?
Yes, I do. Oh, yes. I heard about this story.
Hold on. We'll make sure the... Kelce. Can I get a fist bump? Kelce, can I get a fist bump? First of all, if you're going up to an NFL lineman like that, like you are really, really, really dumb.
Right.
I mean, that's a horrible idea. And then on top of that, like he called him a slur, basically. He said your brother's a slur because I don't want to say it. Your brother's a slur because he's dating Taylor Swift. Which, like, that doesn't even make sense. But I mean, I mean, it is what it is. She's a girl and she's famous and he's dating her and whatever. Who cares? I mean, you can do that. But yeah, I mean, people were saying that you know, the kid got what he deserved, which I do agree in some respect. Like, the guy was saying something to him and he smashed his phone. And, you know, because a lot of people do like the comments we get. They'll say that on the internet, but they won't say it in your face.
Right.
And he smashed his phone. I mean,
yeah.
And he was just an NFL center. They ran the tush push, right? Tush push play. I mean, he's probably one of the strongest people in the world. And you're talking crap to him. Like, you're lucky he didn't, like, break your jaw.
Right.
I mean, why would you ever talk crap to that guy? He's huge.
Yeah.
And he looks like a lumberjack, and he looks like he could like chop wood for like a week straight. I mean,
Yeah.
he's freakishly strong. He just looks tough. I mean, why would you ever say something like that to him? That's just so dumb. Wow.
But again, people listen, I'm going to try and navigate my way through this as nicely as humanly possible. When it comes to, social media and things like that, and you have an opportunity to like meet someone that you have seen on TV or a movie, whatever it is, like you meet a famous person, I don't really know the angle why you feel you're so aware of like how you're going to react, but it just amazes me to think that you saying that is not going to get a reaction. Like that just seems like that's human emotion 101. You say something negative, I'd like to think you're going to get a negative response. I mean, I don't know, dude. It's definitely putting two and two together, and I guess that meant fish to the guy. I don't know if that's the only thing that makes sense to me. But dude, this is another thing. It's a good segue to what you bring that up. Another thing that I very much like about what we're going through as a team, the Steelers, there's no outside noise. Like there's nothing. Like as opposed to like what you have been dealing with in the last 5 to 7 years, we are a very well buttoned up thing. Like for example, like the George Pickens thing, like that could have gotten bad. Like I don't know if that's kind of one of the influences that Mike Tomlin may have like unleashed Russ onto the team as opposed to Justin, but it's like I'm sure that George was probably not happy with the results that he was getting. So it's like Russ knows how to get me the ball, get him in there now. So if that's what it took, I'm very happy he kind of had a moment because as of right now, there's no drama. There's none of this like issues with like people. Like everyone seems pretty darn happy about what the Steelers are going through. Like there's no one having issues. We're not having any drama whatsoever. Like Justin Fields and Russell Wilson are constantly on the sidelines looking like they are getting along. That's the best thing you can pretty much ask for because you can see that Russell is trying to keep this dude involved as much as possible. And I can see it in the eyes and the body language that Justin is like, I appreciate this, but I do know that I need to get on that field just as much as you do. Because again, it's all about how people need to be aware of how to handle themselves. Like, and again, there's just nothing. Like, again, TJ Watt, Cam Hayward, Minka, all these defensive dudes, they're very much professional dudes. And they would never put themselves in situations. Now, again, it was put out there that Jason Kelce was going to be at State College. So that right there for Jason, I'm just saying, you let it be known. So it's like, what else do you expect? I mean, you're going into a college town and these kids are going to either be a certain way or not. But I just feel like it all came down to that's the environment that you have to be aware of. Like you can go into anything. So to just assume that it would just be like, I'll be out here and it's all going to be a good time. It's like, no, like that's anywhere, everywhere. And what I love about the Steelers, like I don't truly ever see any hostility from fans because again, there's no real reason. Like again, we're pretty well disciplined right now.
Steelers fans are pretty well representative of their team. I haven't been to a ton of NFL games you have, but I've never really seen Steelers fans being mean to people or being bad or being disrespectful. And yeah, like you just said, this guy, Jason Kelce, he's walking through a college town. I think there's more Steelers fans in Central PA than there are Eagles fans, even with the college kids, or they're Giants fans or Cowboys fans or Ravens fans or whatever. So it's like people were saying he needs to be put in jail, and it's like, first of all, the guy provoked him and he smashed his phone. I mean, I don't know what that constitutes. If that's a crime, probably, but
right. Well,
yeah,
I think
I don't know.
The basic rule of etiquette is you always have to feel like there needs to be trust in a situation, and when you break that trust, then all bets are off. That's where I
Yep.
think that comes from. Because again, when you put pressure on someone that you're trying to trust, it's like, fine, then that's what's going to happen. Like, I'm not saying that Jason Kelce should not be kind of reprimanded for it, because again, it's like, dude, it's words. I mean, it's not like, I get it. It's not a good look. I mean, in the sense, like, we all know that you want to try to always look out for people. And I mean, it was his brother. He was just sticking up for his brother. I totally understand the reaction, but at the same time, it's like, please, I'm sure that you have heard that maybe every other person in local areas, like where you once lived in like Kansas City, like it has to be kind of in everywhere, shape or form, because again, it's just all about this one thing. Again, a fan can be anything. A fan can be anyone at any time, in the sense, like, for example, me, I know that there are times where I use sports as a way to get away from life. So it's like, so when I watch my sports and it doesn't go well, now it's like I've got more stuff I just put on myself. It's like, oh, great. Now this isn't going well. Now that's not going well. So what else do I have to that goes well? And it's like, I try my darndest to handle it as best I humanly possibly can. So, I mean, I have outbursts once in a while, but never would I think that if I'm like within the vicinity of someone, to think that that right there is going to mean something that you need to like put out ever. Like that, again, some people they just don't know, or they don't care to know how it's going to be reacted to.
Well, the only thing that I can think of in terms of what his thought process is he's walking through a crowd of people, and I don't know why. I mean, you would think they would have like a shuttle for him or something, or I don't know where he was going. I think he must have been going to the game. I would assume he's in a suite of some sort. If he's in a suite at the Super Bowl with Taylor Swift, I'm assuming he can get a suite at Penn State. So, you know, at the end of the day for him, it's like, if you are walking through a crowd of people in a college town, pretty much all of them are drunk. And, you know, they're kids, and he's surrounded, and he hears people talking crap. If he smashes a phone, then no one's going to mess with him anymore, for one thing. It's like sending a message like, first of all, if you say something to me, I'm going to do something to you. And that sends a message to everyone else around him, like, stay the F away from me.
Right.
So that's my thought process. Like, you know, like Franklin, he was walking off the field yesterday, and he was, you know, barking at for lack of a better term, a student. You know what I mean? They were barking back and forth, talking crap or whatever, and it's like he's behind a wall, railings, and he's saying stuff to this guy. So what is it like if that kid's on the field? What's going to happen? What's Franklin going to do? You don't know. So, you know, I don't think he's going to like punch him or anything, but, you know, he was right behind him. You know what I mean? So you don't know what this guy's going to do. He's a stranger, you know, and Jason Kelce is famous. He's a figure that people know, and he doesn't know this person. So that's the only thing I can think of. But I mean, yeah, kid was barking at Kelce, and he smashed his phone. So it is what it is. I mean, you know what I mean? I mean, it is, it sucks for that kid's phone, because I don't know what he did. I don't know if he told the police, or if he had, you know, because I don't have a cover on my phone. It's totally naked. I don't even have a screen cover.
You have coverage?
Huh?
Do you have like a coverage on your phone? Like if it breaks, like can they replace it? Like do you have that kind of...
I do. Yeah. I just, you know, I've had a phone cover and a screen cover for a long time, and I just like the way it feels and looks without it on it. Yep. But if I drop it, like, it's going to be damaged. I mean, it is what it is. But so if it was like this, not protected, then it's totally demolished. Right. But if he had like a cover on it and stuff, maybe it's okay somewhat. Like an OtterBox, that can take a lot of damage. But I mean, yeah, that's the only thing I can think of, is he felt like he was getting ambushed a little bit, and then so yeah. Yeah, man.
But
I
you know,
mean,
the thing about this, like these situations you bring up, like you think about like our situation with the Steelers, like think about our coaches. You brought up James Franklin from the Nittany Lions, like the harassing and like, you know, people think like the things that people say and what they can really lash out on you at for what you have not accomplished, what you have not done, and all that. I mean, think about our guy. I mean, Mike Tomlin. I mean, listen, I may not agree with a lot of the things that he comes up with and how he handles it, but dude, if there is not a person I don't think that has a stronger will in this world than Mike Tomlin, shoo, that man must have a set made of Teflon because he gets so much ridicule for not having the Super Bowls, for constantly getting to a playoff and never winning, for making the decisions he's made with guys like Russell Wilson. And you know what? He never shies. Like he just knows what he knows, and it's enough to keep his job, and it's enough for us to pretty much go like, well, you have more times not been right. It's just, of course, it's always wrong when it really matters. Oh, yeah. And I feel like that's the same thing with guys like Franklin. It's just when you have the people coming down on you for what you have not gotten, like which is a Ohio State win, which is a Michigan win. I mean, he's 0-7 against Ohio State and Michigan in the last 3-4 seasons. It's pretty bad. Everybody else, he's like 53-3 or some random number.
1-10. I think he's 1-10 against Ohio State. He has a horrible record against the top 10 and against Ohio State and Michigan both. So yeah, but yeah, it's the same. Like people bark at Tomlin. People with the comments, people are barking at me for stuff I said. It's like it happens, man. It happens all the time. You know what I mean? But yeah to go off what you said,
dude,
I mean
I saw the comments. I saw the comments for our Penn State thing. Yeah, I remember when I saw one of the comments, I said something about we all have to change our diapers because we're all being childish. I mean, my first initial thought was it was like, well, it's nice to know that you care enough to tell me to do that. I just, just let most people just tell you to sit in it. So I feel like, you got to try to be as positive as you can with it. So I just know that in the end, dude, it's a tough environment in that sense. Like your critics are going to be coming at you with a fine comb. It's just like they're going to pinpoint all of it. You got to know how to maneuver. At least you got to try to know how to respond in the best way you know how. So obviously Chase and Kelce did not, in the sense like it's one thing again when you are attacking someone with words and it's like that's the reaction, and then it's like again it's like what do you expect, dude? I mean that's what you did. But it's like again these guys like the coaches, they get all of this stuff and they have to know how to just let it bounce off them. Like there's got to be rubber and glue kind of ordeal thing. So I totally respect these guys right now because for as long as I can remember, even with Big Ben, now again, Big Ben is a first ballot Hall of Famer, but everyone used to always talk about how much of a baby Ben was, how much he would be such a diva about his position. And, you got to follow how he handled himself. And it's just like, yeah, that was all I heard from the guy. So that always seemed to be an issue or something that was brought up. I mean, for me personally, it's like he got the results he had in his career. So it's like that's what made him great in the sense like he got what he wanted. So if he needed that, and that's what we got. So I'm very happy that Ben had the career he had. But again, that was always a question. And then you had the Antonio Brown blow up. That was like, I remember having him for 3-4 seasons before the whole thing imploded. And it was like, I didn't hear a peep. Not one thing came out of the Steelers organization that this guy was toxic. And then all of a sudden, that video came out where he videotaped Tomlin doing an inspirational video about the Patriots. Like that was our big rival with Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. And it got leaked out and all of that, snowballed out of control after that. And then he got let go a couple of years later. And, Bell kept demanding things for himself because he knew how good he was and we wouldn't give it to him. And he left. Like there was a lot of drama that we had in the last several seasons. Yeah. And then we had more drama when Ben left and we were trying to find the next Big Ben. So between Mitch Trubisky, Kenny Pickett, and poor Mason just never really got the opportunity. And then you had a guy like Landry Jones and Michael Vick was involved at one point in the whole debacle. Yep. Like, I mean, it's crazy to know that there was a lot of chaos and a lot of back and forth. And then when it was all said and done, dude, we had an opportunity to do something that we never do, which is not get one, but two capable and actual starting quarterbacks on our team. Like both Justin and Russ have been the greatest saving grace for the Steelers organization in the last 4 or 5 years. Now, again, TJ Watt, Minkah Fitzpatrick, Cam Hayward, the defense has at least always been something we could rely on. So we were always having good seasons because our defense was always elite, and it still is. But you talk about all of the problems you had on offense, it's just so refreshing to know that you have not one, but two options. I mean, they are definitely in a very good place right now. I could not be happier that this organization is right now looking like everything is buttoned up. Everyone has kind of finally put themselves in a place where you can, compartmentalize all of your problems and put it on the field or not. Like, again, nothing is wrong. And dude, can we please give a shout out to Danny Smith, the special teams coach for this season? This dude, I didn't know he existed. And when we blocked that kick against the Jets and I saw them put the camera on the side, the entire special teams is basically dogpiling this one coach. And I'm like, dude looks like he's 70.
You knew about him, right?
I mean, I've heard like him once in a while, but
he's the man.
Oh, dude, I've ever since like that has happened, he's never not been on camera. Like he's kind of been like this like media sweetheart of like Pittsburgh. Like every time the special teams does something, which is pretty much all the time. And that's the thing.
I want to say this too, Jared, about I don't mean to interrupt you, but I want to say this too about and this ties to the Steelers, but Jason Kelce, he's a center. He protected people in the NFL. So that's what he naturally does. So he was kind of protecting his brother. Now, when I played quarterback in football, I remember this one game in particular where there's these two defensive ends, and they were talking crap. They were barking at me, and one of my linemen asked. They said, "Are they talking to you out there?" I was like, "Yeah, they're barking at me a little bit," and they did something about it because they were talking crap to me. My lineman did, and it was illegal for sure, like on the field at least. But Russell Wilson, when he was in Denver, there was videos of him getting sacked and people weren't helping him up. I mean, that's a terrible sign for a team and a line. Now the Steelers wouldn't do that to him, especially because he's playing really good and he throws a beautiful ball and he's doing really well. But, when it comes to that type of stuff, like when Big Ben played, you said like people said stuff about him, even though he's tough as nails and he played with freaking fractured ankles and broken noses and broken fingers. I mean, he always toughed it through. Always. He was tough as nails. He was. But he was still a quarterback. Quarterbacks are divas. They are. I mean, and Big Ben wasn't known for his off-season preparation, especially early in his career because he was so good. But, his line always had his back, and the line now will always have Russ's back and Justin's back. But, yeah, man, it's just like the camaraderie as a whole right now just seems very good. And that's what happens when you have a good quarterback, let alone two, and you have a good mentor in Mike Tomlin. I mean, like I've said, he's a great mentor. He's a great coach. He is a great coach. I mean, he hasn't shown that particularly with his playoff games, but when you have a mentor with Mike Tomlin, and then you have a young quarterback like Justin Fields and a veteran quarterback like Russell Wilson, and you mesh all that together and you have a good quarterback playing on your team, that makes everything better. So it just trickles down, man, because it does start with the quarterback. Any team in America, from elementary school to the NFL, if you have a good quarterback, you have a chance. And Russell Wilson throws an incredible football. He looks really good, and it's like that perfect trio of the young quarterback, the veteran quarterback, the veteran coach, all together. I mean, that's a perfect combination there. And on top of that, we have our defense. We have Minka Fitzpatrick, who's awesome. We have Patrick Queen now. We have T.J. Watt, a future Hall of Famer. We still have Cam Hayward, who is at least a Steelers Ring of Honor guy. I mean, we're literally like a receiver away, and I would like to get freaking Chase Young, I think is his name, on our defense too. You know, like a guy like that, another defensive end who can play opposite of TJ, and then we need a receiver. But yeah, we're pretty much a receiver away from actually contending, and I do have confidence that we can contend and that we can win a playoff game at least and make a run this year. I am confident about that. But I mean, I just showed the freaking depth chart, dude. It's the depth chart is unbelievable right now in terms of like who's look at this. Well, these are some stats, but all right, so the depth chart, I'm going to show the depth chart again. Look at all these red things, man. Holy crap, look at that. That's unbelievable.
There's a lot of red.
Yeah, so you know, that's another thing about the team is we have a lot of guys that are hurt and injured because they're on IR, but you know, we're still pulling through. We're 6-2. We still lead the division because it goes by a number of losses, even though the Ravens won today. But, you know, look at these stats, for example, like Russell Wilson, 542 through 2 games to Justin Fields, what? How many games did he play?
6. Says right there, 6 games.
Right. Okay. Games played, yep. So 1106 compared to 542, 2 games, 6 games. Average 9.5 yards a game is almost double. Like
that's nuts.
His completion percentage is slightly less. But yeah, man, it's like he has 3 touchdowns compared to 5.
Right.
And you know, nothing against Justin Fields. I'm very happy that he's on our team, and I think he's going to be a starter in the future. But he needs some mentorship. He needs some time in a good organization, and you know, Russell Wilson is looking really good. I mean, the ball he throws it's beautiful. He throws a beautiful ball, and you know that can't be said enough. Like he looks really good, and it's just as a whole, this team seems to be just. It's like they seem to all be close, and it's like a brotherhood. I mean, 2004 Red Sox, man, they're going up against the evil empire of the Yankees, and they were literally taking shots before the ALCS games. I mean, they were just a good, tight group, and that makes a huge difference when you're trying to win games. So, yeah.
Well, again, dude, we're talking about coaching right now. Again, we can't really say a whole lot about Mike Tomlin as a coach because, again, the inconsistencies of not being able to win a playoff game, but having one of the best regular season records you can have as a head coach. I mean, this team clearly knows the history, knows the responsibility of it. I mean, there's never been a time where I have seen in all my years of watching the Steelers where I'm like, man, this is a terrible defense. Man, there is something wrong with the season. Like, when was the last time you had that? Like, again, you're talking about times where we were both in elementary school, middle school time where we've had a losing season. So it's just nuts to see 18 years of 500 or better, never really questioning, like, can we compete in the league? Because nothing makes me happier than knowing every single NFL network, ESPN, FS1, you name any major like sports network, and they're constantly putting the Steelers 4th in that division every preseason. And it's like, well, folks, I guess they know and they hear this, and you constantly disrespect them. It's just that's what it comes from. I know that we have so much to look forward to this second half because, again, we are now facing the gauntlet of second half schedules, the toughest schedule you will ever see in our lives. I mean, if there's another second half like this, I mean, it's definitely if you can get through this second half at 500, that would still put you at what, 10-7, which I would be very happy with. But you're talking about winning this division, which is a doable thing. That's the thing. It's one thing if Lamar Jackson is now emerging as a great thrower as well as a great runner. And of course, Joe Burrow and company will not go away. They will not. They will stick around as long as they possibly can. I mean, the Browns are out. Like, unfortunately, that's just the way it always works in Cleveland with the Browns. And they just cannot ever be the team. So it's now the Cincinnati Bengals, the Baltimore Ravens, and us. And we're going to be going head to head pretty much 4 times in about 6 weeks. Like, it's crazy what we've got coming for it. But that's the thing. We're ready. We have the players. They're getting healthier. And again, coaching is where it's all at right now. Terrell Austin, our defensive coach, has got everyone buttoned up. Arthur Smith has basically been the savior for the offensive side of the ball. They have done everything that they're supposed to do offensively. The things that they did not have for years and years is finally offensively on our team. So you look at all the results, Najee, Jalen, great. And even Cordell Patterson, when he's healthy, it's going to be great tangent running the ball. And again, Justin Fields, you saw the numbers for, it was 186 yards a game he averaged. If you get that up to 200 in your next year's average, dude, that's a great quarterback. I mean, because all he does is run the ball. Like, he's got those Lamar legs. So if he could just add a couple 15, 20 yards a game to his throwing game, he is going to be a force in the NFL. So as far as the Steelers are concerned, they are one of the best teams in the AFC. I mean, if you look at like the big picture right now in the AFC, the Chiefs and the Bills are going to the playoffs. Like, they are playoff teams for sure already. Like, did you witness the Bills and Dolphins game?
A little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you see that Tyler Bass hit a 61-yard field goal to win that thing 30-27?
I didn't see that. I had it up here, but I didn't see it.
61-yard field goal. When your freaking kicker can nail a 61-yarder, that's not fair. Like, because the Dolphins were like, you're pinned back pretty much halfway to the field, and you still got that thing through the uprights. So they're a very, very set team. Think about that. The Chiefs, the Bills, and us. Now, again, the Ravens are in it too. I would probably, at this very moment, just because I know what I've seen, that yes, the Ravens can be ahead of us if we want to say who's better. Like, right now, I mean, we face each other in 2 weeks, dude, and it's going to be the craziest atmosphere you've ever seen, because it'll be the best game I probably will see all year. Hopefully. Like, I just hope we show up. Because, again, nothing makes it worse than when it's like you talk about all these things and then it doesn't happen. But that's the thing that Baltimore has famously known to do. And again, teams like the Ravens, dude, everyone talks about how great the Ravens are. They were 2-4 against the Steelers in the last 6 games that they've played. Now, again, a lot of that was without Lamar. So I know that it's going to be interesting to see how he handles us and we handle them. Dude, if that game doesn't come down to like 14-10, 13-10, I would be shocked, because it's going to be low scoring. It's going to be the old school stuff, dude. I mean, I can feel it right now. The defense is smashing us and us smashing them. It's just what this whole AFC North is all about, dude. When you get to the AFC North battles, the Cleveland Browns beat them. That's the thing. You are talking about, everyone else goes like, how can the Browns beat the Ravens? It's division. AFC North is different. It is just such a different animal. Like, if you're talking about what would represent us as like an animal, if we were saying what's the AFC North look like, it looks like a rhino, like on steroids. That's pretty much what it is. It's coming at you full charge, and you're going to feel the horn. Like, that's just what it is all about. They will come at you every inch of the game. The Broncos just experienced it against the Ravens today, and the Raiders just got manhandled against the Bengals. Like, that's what that kind of AFC North battles are like. So when you see Ravens, Bengals, Steelers, Browns, it doesn't matter. It's always going to be tough games, dude. And I'm all for what we're about to go through with this second half.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, the team's definitely coming together. They look good. And again, we're leading the division. So even with the Ravens win today, what was so crucial about last week was, you know, the Steelers had to win Monday night, and the Ravens lost to, it was the Browns, right? Yeah.
Yep.
So, and then you got the Bengals sucking, and then the Browns, they're the Browns, as always. And Deshaun Watson, I think he's out for the season. So,
Yep.
there's a few things there's a few factors that are kind of going our way, but it's about time. Mike Tomlin starting Russell Wilson, I was wrong about that. It's turning out pretty well. It looks like he made a good decision, and Mike Tomlin is definitely a good coach. I mean, he just hasn't won playoff games, as I said. So it's like, how long can you put up with that? I mean, James Franklin, I think his time is kind of slowly coming to an end at Penn State, because I know that he has a huge contract and he needs paid out, but I think either someone else will pick it up or they'll just buy him out, because it just can't keep coming. It just can't keep coming down like this with Penn State. And like I said, man, like, that's not the first time fans have been barking at him when he's coming off the field and he's like said something to them, and it's like, I feel bad for the guy, but I haven't really seen, like you were saying, I haven't really seen people yelling at Tomlin. But you talk about another guy who has taken a lot of heat too. I mean, they're both, they're kind of both in the same situation, in terms of they need to like make some changes with their teams, and if it doesn't, then we could be looking at some changes for both teams. But yeah, overall, man, I mean, I'm pleased, and it's certainly sparked a renewal in my fanhood for them, as I said, because it's just they have not been the Steelers that I'm accustomed to seeing. I mean, they're not the dynasty and the franchise that I'm used to seeing. I mean, like I said about Penn State, we don't win games, we win seasons. And the Steelers, again, like, they don't win games, they win seasons. Mike Tomlin hasn't had a losing record his whole career, and that's incredibly hard to do. And I forget his name. Is it, no, not Wisenhunt, the coach that used to coach for Pittsburgh?
I know who you're
Pittsburgh
talking about, but
University.
I don't. I'm totally blank. I know who you're talking about. I think you're close to it.
Hold on, I'm just gonna find it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just gonna pull this up.
But dude, while you're looking that up, like, saying about like what has been missing, it has been basically the quarterback play. Like,
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
thing about it is, like, even with Big Ben, dude, and when he was in his prime, there were a lot of things that would always kind of like irk you about Ben, where it's like when he would drop back and I would watch that man scramble for 15 seconds before he threw that ball or started running. It was, I could not imagine how annoying it was for defenses on the field. Because again, imagine that you step back, you're looking, and you're fake. You're missing a guy. You blocked it. You're out of the tackle. You're still looking, and you're still going. I mean, dude, I'm gonna still do this for like 10 more seconds because that's how long he took, and then finally throw. Like, how annoying would that be? Where it's like it never quit, and he would do that more often than not. So it was not like the greatest version of a quarterback, but he always had results with that. He knew how to make things happen for himself at some point. That's what made Ben Ben. So, and then you had, of course, the inconsistencies of all the others. I mean, 4 or 5 guys we named that were before Russ and Justin. Now, again, Justin has not the prettiest throw, but he definitely knows how to maintain a game. You never felt like there was going to be a bad game with Justin under the leadership like that. He knew how to stay very consistent with keeping the ball on our side. Like, he rarely gave it away. So, I mean, he would never fumble. He would never throw the ball, like, intercept or nothing. But with Russell Wilson, dude, that is something that is very, very interesting. Now, again, it's only been 2 games, but these first 2 games, dude, have just looked like a quarterback is in Pittsburgh, like a quarterback that actually plays quarterback the way quarterbacks are supposed to play. Like, he just steps back. He makes a good look around. He throws a deep ball and the moon ball, like that what they call that. I love seeing that from him. He just has such a pretty delivery. That one touchdown pass to Calvin Austin against the Giants, that was something to behold. I'm like, it's, again, 35 years old, absolutely great. number. I mean, it's not too old, not too young. He's right there in the veteran leadership role. And I just feel like this dude is the best thing that's happened to Pittsburgh since Justin. I mean, I know it's like not a whole lot, but you know what I'm saying? We've done something for ourselves for the first time in a long time where it's like, we've had to get this right. And again, we didn't know how this was going to play out. You think about where we were in January of this year. We still had Kenny Pickett as our starting quarterback. We had nothing. We gave away Mason Rudolph, and like what? Mitch Trubisky decided to leave, and was like, so all we had was Kenny Pickett. And I mean, can you imagine how they sat in a room and were like, what are we going to do? And then all of a sudden it's like out of the heavens, comes Russell Wilson's like, I'm willing to go anywhere for anything. And it's like they got him for the deal they got. And I mean, when that news broke, I would have loved to have been on that episode with you, dude, because I was jumping for joy where I was when I found the news. And then the unthinkable happened. The absolute unthinkable happened for Pittsburgh when I saw the news broke that Kenny Pickett was traded to the Eagles for a 3rd or 4th round pick. I was like, what are the Eagles doing? Have they not seen this guy? Like the fact that we got that high a draft pick. And then, of course, the finishing touch, the cherry on top of this whole Sunday was Justin Fields was traded to the Steelers, and we gave away some, again, 2nd or 3rd round pick. No, 5th round pick. I think it was even lower than what Kenny's deal was. I was like, holy crap. Like, I cannot believe the Chicago Bears just like gave up completely on a 24-year-old guy. Now he's 25. But it's like, dude, it's just like some things just happen when they're supposed to. And that's what it's been for the Steelers. It's been good news for for these last few months, and I'm all for it. So,
Yeah, to answer Ally Howard, he asked which playoff games we should have won. My answer is all of them. If Tomlin can win with Duck and Mason and Kenny Mittens, wait until you see him with a professional QB. Yeah, we have seen him with a professional QB. Thanks for the comments, Ally Howard. We appreciate it. Justin needs to stop getting hit in the face with the ball first. I don't know what that means. I thought we'd get a bag of footballs for Kenny. Hopefully, at least some food.
Well, dude, that pick that we got for Kenny, that ended up being Peyton Wilson. And he has been one of the better rookie sensations. But, of course, we talk about rookie sensations. Beanie Bishop, are you kidding me? All those picks that dude has had in his rookie season, man, that's fun. I mean, for a guy that was supposed to be Cam Sutton's role, now that's another interesting thing. Cam Sutton's coming back for the defense. Dude, we all know what that dude's all about. I mean, we know the stuff that he has on the offseason, why he got suspended. I mean, I know that it's going to be a tough thing, especially when the guy's so young and he's getting somewhere. It's like, man, you look pretty darn good in the role. Like, he's not been terrible at all. And I don't know the story of Cole Holcomb, but I mean, I know they talk about he's almost on the verge of making a comeback. So it's like, dude, there's another option. Like, that could be the defensive line that you're looking for that could maybe put some stop on the run. Like, a lot of things are going to get healthy, dude. So it's only more good news to come. We're kind of spoiled right now, and I'm not going to complain.
Nope. No, I'm happy where we're at, Jared. But I'm going to play this, and then we'll head out, all right? You have anything else to say?
You got it, bud.
When I was the defense coordinator for the Dallas Cowboys, we were just getting it going, and Coach Noel, the coach of the Steelers, retired. I was one of the guys that they called in to talk to about the job. I'm going in there, and I'm talking about America's team and the Dallas Cowboys. And Dan Rooney, who was interviewing me, he said, stop right there. He says, let me tell you a little story about America's team. He said in 1976, us Steelers, we beat the Dallas Cowboys in Super Bowl 10. And my dad, the chief, as they called him, Pete Rozelle was the commissioner. He calls up my dad and says, we're making our highlight tape. We want to name the Steelers America's team. That's going to be our caption. He says, the chief, he always had a cigar. He said he took a puff of that cigar and he said, Pete, let me tell you something. We are not America's team. We are the Pittsburgh Steelers. Tech Tram took that from Dallas and ran with it ever since.
Yeah, man, we're the Pittsburgh Steelers. We're Pittsburgh's team. We're not America's team, and that whole America's team. I don't know how they got that name, but they're certainly not America's team. That's for sure. In the sense that they're hated by America, yes, they are. But yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, dude, like you talk about America's team, I see red, white, and blue, but black and yellow, that's where it's always been for me too. Like those colors are infused in all of it. I mean, you look around this is what the symbol is for the country. It's red, white, blue, and yellow and black. I mean, it's just, it's wonderful colors.
Thanks for commenting, and he said he subscribed.
Yeah,
so.
Thank you.
Thanks, man. But yeah, Jared, I think what's it up to? Literally the past 24 hours has like taken the channel to a whole new level. Let's see here. Where we at? Literally the past 24 hours 493 now. The channel to 493. Yeah, so but thanks, Ally. I appreciate it, man. I'm glad
thanks, Ally.
Thanks for commenting and everything. But yeah, Ally Howard Species 5618. What does that logo say? I can't see that. What does that say?
It looks like Logan Home Caution Laundromat? No,
I don't know.
Please, Ally, could you tell us what that symbol says?
Yeah, I think he's hopping off, but
oh,
yeah, must be where he works or something. I don't know, but
yeah,
there was this guy that commented, and I'm not gonna say it. Yeah, you guys read through the comments, see how weird they are.
Yeah,
but yeah, I've seen some interesting logos from people. P.S. Dallas is America's team because they sold jackets in Walmart. Starter jackets for like $20.
On sale.
You know, one of the best things people can get me for Christmas is old starter jackets, like Penn State and Steelers. Logan Home Theater and Automation. All right, so if we need a theater put in, we call you. Is that right?
Yep.
So Ally is going to install a theater in our houses for the Steelers games. And if you can, Ally, build me a podcast studio.
No. That'd be good. That'd be good for us, yes.
Yeah, I can't wait to get a podcast studio, man. I'm gonna live in there.
Well, this is your baby, bud. I mean, you take good care of it. I mean, that's the thing we love about this thing, guys. I mean, we love these teams so much. And we just always want to make sure that people have the opportunity to share in that. I mean, this is what it's all about. Sharing the happiness, sharing the good times, even the bad. Because listen, you don't get those views that you had yesterday without a lot of angry fans. Because that's sometimes anger can just fuel just as much passion as it is good. So I'm all for it. So I very much appreciate everyone who hops on and takes their time to give us their thoughts and just hang out. I mean, I'm enjoying it right now. It's, again, loss is bad for Penn State, but the Steelers, they're right where they need to be. I mean, they're just in the conversation. I'm not saying they're Super Bowl bound. I'm not saying they're going to, go and get another championship, but it's a great thing to see some improvements where it's like, we feel like we actually can do something now. Like Russ is a great quarterback. Najee is becoming a great running back. We know George Pickens has the hands of a magician. And guys like Darnell and Pat, the tight ends are just getting started with their season. So there's so many good things, dude. It's an embarrassment of riches, and I couldn't be happier.
Yep. Yeah, I'm happy with it for sure. But moral of the story, moral of the episode is don't bark at people / talk smack, because you could get hit. Or your phone broken, or you have a head coach yelling at you, which he should do that. If you're a fan and you're standing there screaming and pointing at the head coach of a football team, that's just, you get what you have coming, and he should say something back to him. I'm glad Franklin did say that, because I feel bad for the guy, man. He's not, he can't play the game. And he was a good player too, and he has a great resume. I mean, he says it all the time.
He's impeccable at Vanderbilt. He came to Penn State, and he has had a great. Again, we're talking about college has a different animal when it comes to professional because they don't rank you like they do in the pros. Like your record is what it is. But unfortunately, there's a lot more pressure on the college level because again, you're looking at how many different schools, and you have to somehow put it into a top 25. And now gone from 4 teams to 12, because again, there is too many teams. And it's like finding the best 12 teams to go to a college playoff. I know that Penn State's one of them. Like, they are definitely at least in the conversation of 12. Now, could we beat a team like Oregon? Could we beat a team like Georgia? I mean, it depends on how long they let the game go for. I mean, if we get 6 quarters as opposed to 4, all their guys get injured. I mean, that's definitely a better shot for us. I mean, we just play all their backups. I mean, that's the thing. I understand that there are just layers of like talent, recruiting, what it all comes down to, and you got to make it all work. And
yep.
You're talking about a guy who has an A- record. Like, that's the thing. He is always 9, 10, 11 win seasons, but you know what? You're only A+ when you win the national championship. So it's like Coach Franklin is like the A- coach of the year. Like, he has a good grade, but it's not the best.
Yeah. I'm going to play these 2 videos, then Jared, I got to get going. So
I understand completely, bud.
This is when they were yelling back and forth at each other. But Franklin, Ohio State at 2018, he almost like went after a fan. And again, same thing, man. Like, I feel bad for him because I know he wants to win. And we still have hope they can still make the playoff and beat a good team and make the top 4. And I want that for him just as much as I want it for everyone else. So
yeah.
But yeah, you can see he kind of knows it's coming. Look at him. He's standing there pointing at him and yelling at him like wearing fedoras.
Yep. You got to know how to rock a fedora.
Yeah. You don't need to dress like a gangster in 1920, But I'll play the other one, and then I gotta, like I said, this is the other one where he almost.
There we are.
I love you, but that's a bad call. I love you to death. I love you to death. Should have passed it on 4th and 5. I said I love you to death, but you got to pass that ball. You got really mad. No, he just wanted to come out and say something. It was fine. He's obviously upset. Yeah, he's obviously upset. I don't blame him. I told him that he should have passed it on the 4th and 5. I said I love you to death, but he probably should have passed it on the 4th and 5. I understand because he's upset about the game.
Really
want to hear it right now. That's fine. I totally get it. He's a great guy. I'm not trying to get him. I hear you.
But I want to pause it on this kid's face. If it plays. They're playing Frank Sinatra, which is pretty funny.
Should have passed it on 4th and 5.
That's the good stuff.
You got to pass that ball.
If you don't know,
really mad. No, he didn't try to.
Right there. That's Penn State football right there, buddy. That's everybody right there. What happened? How did we lose that game?
He's obviously upset. Yeah.
All right, Jared. Thanks for coming on, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you, bud. This has been great.
Oh, yeah. We'll be back on this week, so later, man.
Yes, sir.